Hey everybody, today we're talking about this, the GAFC foot controller, how it works with the Boss Katana, and if you've got a katana, why you need one. If you gig with the Boss Katana, here comes a bold statement, you need the GAFC. It's simple as that. If you don't have one yet, then you should get one. If you have one and you're not sure how to use it, then I'll explain how to do that in this video. What is the GAFC? I hear you cry. It is a foot controller for the Katana. However, it does not work with the Katana Mini, the Katana Air, or the Katana 50, Mark 1 or Mark 2. So Air, Mini, 50, no go. That is the GFC controller for the Mark II, and this is the GFC controller for the Mark I. They are the same thing with different stickers. So if you have a GFC, it'll work with both Mark I katanas and Mark II. However, in this video, I'm going to focus on the Mark II series because the Mark I is now discontinued. However, most of the information in this video also pertains to Katana Mark I. Right, let's get on with it. You may already know the Katana has 8 different tone settings, as Boss called them. They're patches or whatever you want to call them. Tone settings, we'll stick with that because on the amp just here it says tone settings. And to change between the different tone settings, we go for 1, 2, 3, 4, or hold down the panel, and 1B, 2B, 3B, 4B. Those are rather noisy. Or you've got the panel as well, which is whatever's set on the amp at the time. So that's like an on-the-fly setting. You can do that on the GAFC quite simply. So at the moment, I'm on channel 1 in bank 1. Channel 2, channel 3, channel 4. If I hold down the panel, I'm now on 1B, 2B, 3B, and the rather noisy 4B. So that's already really useful because you can change between the tone settings, the patches as they were, with your feet. However, it is rather confusing because on the GAFC it says channel 1 and on the amp it says tone setting. So if I say tone setting or channel 1, I mean the same thing. I've set this up, this Katana, for live gigging, and I've got channel 1 as a clean channel. I've got channel 2 as a more crunchy channel. Then I've got channel 3 as a kind of an acoustic-y channel with some more ambient stuff. And then channel 4 is my heavier stuff. So this is more like I don't go so heavy, but Foo Fighters-y kind of distortion rather than overdrive. And that's my 4 main channels. However, the power really comes from it when I go back to, say, channel 1, which is my more clean channel. Let's go back to that. By pressing the effects, we go inside that patch. So now, as you can see, I've got the reverb turned on. So now we're looking at the reverb, delay, effects, modulation, and booster setting. If I put the delay button, it doesn't engage channel 4, it engages the delay. Effects, I think I'm not sure what I've got on here. Bit of auto wah for when we're funking. Modulation. Here's a little bit of, I think it's phaser. And then booster gives me a little bit of a boost if I want to get a different style of overdrive. So and then of course I can turn them all on. There's all the lights. I've never done that, so that was quite fun. The interesting thing to notice is that when you press the effects again, it goes back to channel changing mode. So I can now go to channel 2. If I go back to channel 1, it'll be as I saved it in the first place. So what that means is that if you go out of the effects, so I'm in the effects now with everything on, there we go, and then I'm playing, it sounds weird. Then I come out of effects and I go to channel 2. If I go back to channel 1, it's as I saved it on the Katana. Also note that if you've made some changes, so I've gone into effects and say I've engaged that. And then if I want to save it, I have to save it from the amp. So if I go out of that, and then you'd think that if I held down channel 2, like I would do on the amp, it might save it. Change that, go back to it, go in. It doesn't. And that keeps the gig safe because things can happen. And when I gig, I sing and play guitar at the same time. So I do tend to hover over buttons. And if you were to press something accidentally, you could change a saved patch, ruin the gig or whatever. That's a good feature. I wondered if that was a good idea at first. I wondered if you actually should be able to save from the GAFC. And I figured it's better not to because then you can't mess with your patches. At the beginning of the video, I mentioned that the Mark I foot controller was different to the Mark II, and in being different, you've gained some features with the Mark II. So on Mark I, you only had booster or mod, you couldn't have both at the same time, and you had delay or effects, you couldn't have both at the same time. On Mark II, you can. So you can have those 4 different effects all on simultaneously, and it's got concentric knobs on the amp. However, by doing this and having it foot controllable with the GAFC, you've lost some features of the Mark I controller, notably the tap tempo. Tap tempo you can still get with the GAFC, but you need to buy another pedal. Now the pedal you need to get to access the tap tempo could be a Boss pedal, but it doesn't have to be. It just needs to be a momentary switch. So I've got this Harley Benton here, and that's momentary, rather than like one of these effects pedals where it would click on or off. It has to be momentary. This is stereo, but I'm only using the mono one, and I'll show you how to plug it in now. To activate the tap tempo, first thing to do is to switch your amp off, because you don't want to confuse it. What you're doing is you're sending signals to the amp to tell it to do stuff. If you leave the amp on, it ends up confusing it. I know. I learned the hard way. Plug a standard patch lead guitar cable into the back of the momentary pedal, just here, and then plug the other end of that into FS2. Once you've done that, as I have, turn the amp back on, and now it doesn't work. And the reason for that being is I haven't got a time-based effect engaged. So if I go to effects within channel 1, turn on the delay, the red light should start, there it is, the red light starts flashing on the amp. Let's say that that's too fast or too slow. Let's get it speeding up. There we go, it works now. And then you can of course tab that as you wish, super slow. I just used the external pedal as a tap tempo, but now I've set it up with a rather rinky-dink Y cable, so I can come out of this and I can put button 1 as FS1 and button 2 as FS2. I'm not going to go too far into detail because using the Boss Tone Studio, you can assign those 2 buttons to a multitude of different functions, and that is a video on its own. I haven't even mentioned the fact that you can also use an expression pedal, such as this EV30, to control things like wah, volume, rates, all kind of things. That's a video on its own. If you want that video, let me know in the comments section down below and I will make it for you. An issue that some people have with the GAFC is quite simple. It costs money, extra money. You've already shelled out the money on an amp, now you have to shell out more money on a foot controller, and then more money to do even more things. But if you did include that with the amp, then the amp would be more expensive. And one of the attractive features of the Katana series is it's cheap, it's affordable. The 50 is insanely cheap, even though the 50 doesn't work with the GAFC. The 100, I think, is the sweet price point for those people that really want to get out there and gig. The artist is available, of course, if you really want to push that tone over the edge and do all those kind of marketing things. If you were worried about the fact that the GAFC costs money, I hope that I've explained a little bit, or at least scratched the surface into why I think that you should own a GAFC to truly get the full power of your katana. That's it for today. I hope the GAFC surface has been scratched, and if you were thinking of getting a GAFC, go for it. It's the price of a low-priced overdrive pedal. Think of it that way. Think of, don't buy an overdrive pedal this week. Unlock the potential and all those pedals that are built in to the amp you already have, or maybe don't have yet. Anyway, I think you should have one. I have one. I think it totally transforms the live performance, and it makes my job easier when I use it in the studio here, because I can just do things with my feet rather than have to look over that damn panel that's at the back of the amp. Anyway, thanks for watching. There are links in the video description to all the products I've used in this video, so if you want to buy one of them, I get a small kickback because there are affiliate links. Thank you for doing that. It supports the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this, there's more coming, or there's more on the channel already. Click like, subscribe, all those kind of YouTubey things, and I will see you at some point in the future. Bye-bye.